We all went inside and looked for ways to try to ease our minds. Forced into a change, I guess it had to be this way. But do your best to try to stay away. The day they closed the world, we all went inside looking for the light. The day they closed the world, we all realize what it means to try. So hold on to the love, don't you be afraid. There come a time when you will have your say. And don't forget to pray the Lord to keep us safe. We will live to fight another day. The day they closed the world, we all went inside looking for the light. The day they closed the world, we all realized what it means to try. I can feel it coming, I can see it miles away. I can feel the sun of brighter days. I can hear the laughter, I can see your smiling face. I can feel the love that's on the way. The day they closed the world, we all went inside looking for the light. The day they closed the world, we all realized what it means to try. The day they closed the world, we all went outside looking for the light. I can feel it coming, I can see it miles away. I can feel the sun of brighter days. I can hear the laughter, I can see your smiling face. I can feel the love that's on the way. I can feel it coming, I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming, I can feel it coming. The day they close the world.
Do not fear! Hoo-ha! Saf is here and welcome to Saf Surgery, Inspirational People and Inspirational Stories. Wow, what a week. My God, it's hot in the UK here, I tell ya. But anyway, what a weekend we had last weekend. My God. It was part of Spirituality Gone Wild's 3rd birthday and it was awesome. We had Fantuzzi playing, we had Leon Hendricks playing, Jimmy's brother, and we had Prince Fleet as the MC, and Debbie G did everything. Unbelievable. And yes, I am part of Spirituality Gone Wild. This is Inspirational People, Inspirational Stories, and this is where we have inspirational people here telling us their story. And today, what a guest I have. Wow. Well, let me explain a little bit about Dominique. It's Dominique Hatcher. I call her Dom. and she's a 10-year veteran of the US military and intelligence community with a focus on cyber threat intelligence, cybersecurity, human analysis, language interpretation, and threat prediction. I don't know what that means, but we're gonna find out. But this woman is cooking with gas. Trust me. Having served during the height of the global war on terror, Dom found herself with PiiSec. I think I got it right. Is it PiiSec? She finds herself with PiiSec. I'm sure she's going to correct me when she comes on. And as a means of sharing her expertise with business and consumers most vulnerable to victimization, Dom embraces the human element, the magic in life stories, and has a passion for serving humanity at the roots, man. In addition, this woman is so wonderful to random life-saving events that always seems to present themselves. She fights to heal trauma with many people around the world. She is shaping people's lives through pain. Look, I mean, I could just go on and go on and go on, but you know what? Let's get her out here. Dom, where you at, man? Where you at? Hey, you're here.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Dom. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's hot here too. I'm sweating already.
I don't know how hot it is there. Where are you? You're whereabouts? You're in Washington, right?
It's the DC area, Washington, DC, basically.
Yes, I don't know how hot it is in DC, but here in the UK, my God, it's boiling.
Yeah,
boiling.
We have bad humidity too, so I guess it's better than raining there all the time, right?
Well, usually it is. I mean, today we had storms, but up until today, it's been 38 degrees, 39 degrees. It's been really hot, so it's really muggy at the moment, but hey ho. So anyway, how you doing? Welcome, Dom.
Yeah, thank you.
Last time I saw you, we were on a panel together, weren't we, for the Prodigy Bureau? Do you remember that? And that's when we first met, and I loved your story, and you listened to my story, and since then I think we've become friends, which is lovely. You know what, you over there and me on this side of the pond. That's beautiful, man. That's spirituality right there. It's just awesome. It's awesome. Now, yeah, but you know what? Since knowing you through social media and getting to know you better, you are a lady of many, many, many talents, and the work that you do is just absolutely bravo. Do not fear, Saf is here. Do not fear, Dom is here. You get me? No, but you are wonderful. You're cooking with gas. No, you're cooking with gas, and I want to hear. Before we get to everything, what you do now and what you did when you were in the is it the army you were in? Was it which forces were you in?
I worked in JIOC communities for the most part. So while I served in the military, I always have worked in every branch, basically, as far as work goes. And then the DC area, it's full of all sorts of agencies and secret stuff. So I've done kind of all of the mixed bag, really.
All the mixed bag. Yeah. So before you got to all that, I want to hear Dom when she was a young girl and what her life was like and where she was born and what made her go to the field that she actually went into. Tell me a bit of history about yourself, Dom.
Okay, well, long stories. So grew up, I was born in San Diego on a Marine base, actually. And then my parents split when we were pretty young, moved to the DC area off and on. You know, my mom kind of moved us around a bit. She had 5 kids, so, you know, money was always pretty tight. I got a job actually at 11 years old because I wanted to do gymnastics. Yeah, so I was working like field work with my sister. I think I made $2 an hour for the first 6 months, and then he upped it to about $3.50 an hour. He was in his late 80s at the time, so you know, to him, I'm sure that was fair wage. But he ended up he was a Czechoslovakian spy, as well as a circus gymnast and all sorts of things. He was the most interesting man in the world, frankly. And I think it was, you know, I believe life just kind of set you up to meet certain people when you're supposed to. And he was one of those players in my life. where, I mean, I remember, and I believe in reincarnation. I've had a serious human awareness since I was little. I remembered coming into the body. Like, I remembered being an energy before and like coming into my physical body, which is probably crazy to most people, but I do remember it like any other memory you have. So he just kind of was able to reconfirm those things. And he taught me about mental visioning and things that I believed already, but you thought maybe they were crazy because of course everybody says that. I remember one time he got stung by all these hornets, and I think at this time he was about 90 probably. He pulled some pots apart and it was a hornet nest. Yeah, so he swarmed and just stung all over the place. He sat there and meditated, and I literally watched with my eyes while these welts went away in front of my face. And it was just, I think it was that little bit of just reality that I needed to confirm all the things I already thought I knew, and, you know, seeing spirits and things like that. It was kind of all the same kind of path where I believed finally, like, you know, there's proof. But, you know, one of my favorite stories that he told us, and he showed us pictures, so I know it's legit, but it was during the Cold War. They weren't allowed to take pictures out of Moscow. No one was. You know, the KGB was filtering everything, and you weren't supposed to take photographs, especially nothing of the cities, of course, right? So he devised a plan, and I believe he was actually working for Canada at the time. And I don't know if I'm even supposed to talk about this, whatever, he's passed. But he had gone over, and he actually had a tail team, and he devised a plan. He went around to all the top of the highest buildings in the city and did handstands and walked on his hands around the tops of the buildings. And they were so impressed that they were taking photos, and they allowed him to take them out. But, you know, what's behind him? The cityscape. So I actually saw them. They're real. Pretty crazy. But yeah, so anyway, that said, he was a huge inspiration. He was also a gymnast. I guess he was an Olympic coach, he had said, I believe. So he used to help me coach. He had all the gymnastics equipment as fate would have it. You know, I really believe that when you want something bad enough, you can manifest it. And I've just always been this powerful creator, which is why if I put my mind to something, I do it, which is why I've done so many things, you know, in my life. People typically are like, well, what don't you do? Like, you know,
well, I mean, you do so many things. I mean, there's only the other day I found out that you sing. I mean,
yeah.
and that video you sent me was awesome.
Oh God, I have no idea what it was.
I love it, man. I love it. Lovely voice as well. It's you know, I might even sign you up, Dom. Do you know what I mean? You never know. I might even sign you up.
COVID is rough, so let's go.
So so you were 10 years, were you, in the military?
I lost you. What'd you say?
How many years were you in the military?
I served 4 years directly, just which is a normal term, and then I was agency type government work for probably 7 more, and then I've just worked sort of ad hoc projects too. So
how
indefinite
was that experience for you? Yeah.
You know, I love it. I love the military community. It's a very special breed. You know, you become a family because of just the circumstances you're in, and you're always, you know, you kind of have to rely on each other very much. Not only in battle or anything like that, but, you know, just day to day. For example, if someone gets a DUI, you all have to come to formation at 04 the next day. You know, everybody's pissed off. You know, it's kind of that kind of everybody's in it together, and so you just have a different dynamic than any other relationship, and you know, you're held to standards that most people aren't, and I think that because of that, you have this dynamic that is just very, very close knit, and it's irreplaceable afterwards. So, and then of course we're pranksters. We used to prank each other constantly, which I really miss. I mean, it's just one of the things was my family, and they'll probably hate you for saying it, but we're not very close. You know, I've always wanted have family picnics and you've got 100 people together and, you know, everybody's happy and makes jokes and all that. I mean, we've had, of course, those moments and we do love each other, but there's just this strange separation in our family where everybody kind of feels like they're off on their own and they don't really have each other to rely on fully. You know, and worst came to very worst, people would try to step in, but it's not as close as I would have preferred, you know, personally, where I've seen a lot of families. And obviously there's the love and there's the caring, but, you know, especially as a child growing up, you really want that. And we had all these shows like Full House growing up. I'm like, where? I want that. No, I didn't want the stupid moral lessons or the cheesy songs at the end, but I did. But I did like the whole like joining together idea. So anyway, that was kind of why I joined. And actually, I was living out of my car after music school and trying to do the starving artist thing. And I was trying to find a place to nap for the night. You can't just camp out anywhere, you know, you get in trouble. And so I was trying to find a place, and I crashed, fell asleep at the wheel. And that, there went my home.
Wow.
So that's kind of why I joined. I had nowhere else to go. So, and I'm glad I did. You know, I was a Chinese linguist originally, so I got to learn language, and then I was in cyber, and I got to learn that. And of course, just the crazy things that I've seen and experiences I've had are all owed to that as well. And again, I was a starving artist, so I'd probably still be starving.
I'm gonna call you the human computer. That's what I'm gonna call you. We've got
there's so many more impressive people than I am in that regard, but
we've got a message from someone you may know, and the message says "Proud of you, Dom," and it's someone MK School U. Do you know them?
Sure. I have no idea.
Someone
No.
MK School U, proud of you, Dom. So whoever that is. So thank you, MK School Dom. Okay, so you had your time in the military, then you came out. What did you do next when you left the military? What was your next thing you did?
Well, you know, my son was about a year and a half at that time, and I had plans originally to move to California with his father, but you know, that kind of fell through as he was found out he was cheating again. All those things. So, you know, life has its plans for you. So I moved back to the DC area knowing I could find government work in this place, you know. Most of my family was government, so I know this is the place to be, and that's why we kind of lived here a lot of our lives. And so I came here and I worked for State Department first, and then a few other places. So, and
Wow.
yeah, and then I worked with Sony after quite a stint. I worked with Sony after they were hacked, and helped them with their cyber threats.
So what does that include then? Because when it comes to cyber and computers and all that, it's all Greek to me. I have no idea. So can you explain a bit about your role and what you do and what you specialize in?
Well, I've sort of transited. I don't know. I'm like the I don't know. I'm like the free spirit that has to taste every cake in the room, you know, like I don't know. I sort of master one thing, or, you know, to as good of a degree as I feel like I need to. And then I sort of jump off of that, leverage it in other areas. So for me, you know, I worked in networking first, and then, you know, threat analysis, and of course, you know, analyzing and predicting threats, for example, financial threats, right? You've got all sorts of, originally people would steal credit cards and these types of things. And then, you know, I was like, what would be their next hop? And I sort of predicted Target before Target happened, you know, and then all of these stores, because they're, you know, the PCI compliance was sort of an issue that was never really fully finalized or really mandated properly. I know it's gotten a lot better, but initially, yeah, there was a set of rules, but nobody was really checking if they were being complied with. And therein lies an issue of, you know, data streaming and transfer, and you can intercept pretty much anything. And I always tell people, like, if you can make it, you can break it. Nothing's impenetrable. You know, that's just the way of everything. You know, even they've dissected molecules, you know, like things can be unmade, you know, they do. So, but trying to predict where the trend will go is one of my favorite things, as well as just, I don't know, I'm a puzzle solver. I really like dig in and try and figure things out in any regard that I can. I want to know everything. I want to know every language. Like,
if you can make it, you can break it. Remember that, guys. If you can make it, you can break it. I love that. So then, so,
Break it, you can make it.
yeah, and if you break it, you can make it back again,
There you
I
go.
guess.
That's what I
Yeah,
call
yeah.
myself.
But so you know, you're doing all this. So where do you get time to fit the singing and the modeling? You're a model as well, right? Or are
Yeah.
you a model at the are you modeling at the moment?
I don't have any gigs going on right now. I mean, COVID's really, I do have one photographer I'm supposed to model for. It's been a month. We've kind of been pushing it around, but yeah, I think COVID's affected probably every market in the industry, or any industry really. But it's something I really loved. My son, when I used to do a lot of runway work, and he one time came to a show and he goes, "I don't want everyone staring at you. You're mine." I was like, "All right." So I sort of stopped. Yeah, I stopped doing a little of that. I was at the time I was also hosting a show where I'd interview musicians and things like that for the CW50 platform. Yeah, and he just, he's a little boy and I'm his property, so.
Oh, bless him. Bless
So I
him.
pulled back a lot.
So when we first met, we met at the Prodigy Bureau panel, and I was mainly talking about it was about advocacy, wasn't it? It's what we advocate for, and I was talking about addiction and a bit of mental health and exploitation, and there was some fascinating people there with us. And you were just before me. I remember. I thought, oh, I've got to follow that now, because what you talked about was remarkable, and you were talking about mental wellness for trauma victims.
Right.
Can you sort of cut that talk down now and let us know?
Absolutely. I have always I've been an empath since I was little. I can always kind of feel when people are not right, and I can sort of drill in and figure out what's going on with them. I mean, I can see someone's eyes and immediately see kind of where their psyche's at.
Where's my psyche at, Dom?
Your psyche is making sure you don't screw up.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that. Beautiful. Hey, beautiful. Come on, I like that.
That's what I see. Funny, because my friends sometimes used to call me like the party preacher and stuff, because every time I go out to like a bar or something, I end up finding the guy in the room that's like sad, and I'm like, "Hey, it's okay, blah blah," and I'm like trying to bring him up, and by the end of it, he's like, "You're so sweet and amazing," and I feel better. And then the next day, I'm drained, like exhausted. But that's just what I do. It's never, like, for me, socializing is that it's trying to be the pebble in the pond that ripples out and brings people up, and it's not even a conscious thing. It's just innate for me. And so then I started studying NLP a long time ago, and I realized at one point that it relates very much to computers, because the brain really is a computer, and you can reprogram that just like any computer. And that's basically what NLP does through visualization. And one of the most important things for me to realize through NLP, and I'll try to explain it really quickly, is that when you have a memory, there are two different segments to that memory that join and create that thing. And one of them, especially in very traumatic situations, is the emotional memory, and the other is the actual visual memory. Or recall is typically both. So if it's a traumatic thing, you actually relive it. You actually re-feel all of the emotions, and that's where the trauma comes, because you're not just remembering it, recalling it like 1 + 1 is 2. There's no feeling associated with that. But like a rape victim or a veteran who's gone overseas and had to do or see horrible things, those things live with you and they become a part of you. And every time you think about those things, it's not just triggering the recall, like 1 + 1 is 2, it's actually triggering the emotions again. And, you could go right through exactly all the same trauma over and over again. And the good thing for me with NLP is that through this visualization, what we're doing is essentially snipping off that emotional part and making the memory more like 1 + 1 is 2. And so I work a lot with veterans, of course, because that's a special place for me. And then rape victims, of course, because women, personal passion of mine is just that women have been, although we're the creators of life, just belittled and treated poorly for centuries now. Like secondhand citizens, but we are the ones that were given this ability to make humans. When guys say things like, "Oh, can you do that?" or blah, 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 I'm like, well, can you make a person? Because I can. you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I've never understood why women are treated, you know, poorly or any of that. But so, you know, rape victims it's a big passion for me as well. And I had one girl who suffered a pretty terrible situation. And the good thing about NLP too is that I don't ever have to hear the story. I just walk them through it. And again, because I'm like tapped in, I can sort of feel where the pain points are in their body and help them to release those without ever having to hear the story out loud. So they don't have to share anything. It's very private for each individual. But this girl, through just one session, was able to look at her rapist in the face and say, "I forgive you." And that was just so powerful, because prior, you know, she had been just so trapped in it and, you know, unable to do things like leave the house and things comfortably. So it's just so powerful.
Can you do it with me now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
Do you have like a trauma moment that you want to be of? And then you want to try and get like rid
I have loads, Dom.
of it? Don't we all?
Yeah. Can I tell you about it? Is it okay
You don't
to
need
disclose
to.
the trauma?
Well,
No?
you don't really need to, is the thing. That's the magic of it, because you don't have to put your business out for it to work.
Okay.
And that, to me, that's one of the more powerful tools, because a lot of people don't want to talk about what happened to them, especially females in that situation. You know, it's a very private and emotional thing. I mean, you're totally welcome to, if you want to pre-tell the story, and then we can.
I don't know. Will that help you with your work, or it doesn't make? I mean.
No, I think actually what it might be better to do is just walk through it,
Okay,
and then to recall it afterwards, or, you know, explain it afterwards and see if it did actually, you know, if the results are there.
Can we use your technique and your tool for trauma that I experienced on a daily basis for 6 years?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, the thing about long-term things is a lot of long-term things, because they happen constantly, you'll have associated with the same trauma many different memories. So let's grab one specific memory, one specific instance, and we'll get rid of that first. And so the thing about a 6-year trauma cycle is that we have to really pinpoint the roots of it, which we obviously don't need to do at this moment, but we can find one right now. But in a long session, and something I try to help you completely to heal it, we would want to go as far back as possible, or not as far back necessarily, but as deeply as possible, to the thing that's the biggest for you, or those types of things. And then we would try and eradicate that one. And again, what it is a separation of the memory and the emotional reliving of it. And that's the power, because you can then recall it and it doesn't have the grip on you. So if you want to go through and just choose one moment, absolutely. And we'll try to get rid of that. Now, what I want you to do is just tell me. Honestly, I always close mine. It is a physical thing. So you're going to have to move your hands and this type of thing. So let me explain sort of the circumstance to you first. What you're going to do is, especially, you need to know if it's the memory is a video clip sort of thing, like you see like a video of it, a few seconds, or if it's just a freeze frame. So tell me quickly if that's which is the case. Is it like is it seconds long memory? Yeah, tell me.
Shall I tell you exactly what happened?
No, just tell me if the memory that you're recalling is a flash, like a picture, or like a few seconds of a memory. So like someone screaming and throwing a dish. That's a few seconds of.
So mine's a few seconds. A few seconds.
Okay.
And I want everyone who's watching this to try it for yourself as well. Okay, but a few seconds.
Exactly. Now, I'm not going to be able to feel inside of everybody, because it's very personal for you. I'll be able to feel where in your body you're holding the energy, but other people I won't necessarily. So I'll direct it to you. But if, you know, anyone out there who's listening, wherever in your body you start to feel the tension, or you feel the energy, and sometimes I feel it in my cheeks a lot, because I hold a lot of tension in my cheeks when I'm upset. And I grind my teeth. So I feel a lot here. And so I'll walk you through it. But when I say turn it off, like, think about where in your body those things are. I'll explain to you quickly now. So what you're going to do, since it's a few seconds or a segment of memory, is choose one freeze frame photo in your mind, right? And you're going to choose that as a representation of the entire thing, so that it's like a freeze frame. Let me know when you've got it.
I've got it.
Perfect. Okay, so this is one of my favorite ones to do. It's pretty quick. I call it rabbit ears, because what you're going to do is essentially we're going to manipulate the photograph as if it were a freeze frame on. Remember those old TVs, the box set TV with the rabbit ears? So we're going to manipulate the picture inside of one of those. And you remember how it had all the knobs? You can't see my hand. All the knobs on it. We're going to use each of those knobs as a certain technique tool to change the photograph, okay? So when I tell you to do things, what I want you to do is physically do them. So I'm going to tell you to box your picture out. You're going to actually, you're going to box the photo out, right? So you're going to think of the picture, and then I want you to actually box it out. Okay, so you can close your eyes for it, but just let me give you the instructions quickly. So once you've boxed it out, what you're going to do is grab the edges of it, and you're going to imagine one of those TVs in front of you, and you're going to put it inside the TV. And then we're going to step back. And this is all visualization in your head, okay? So it's best to me personally to have my eyes closed. So once you've got it in the TV, we're going to then manipulate it as if it's in the TV. And we're going to do some physical things as well. But I want you right now to visualize one of those box set TVs if you can, one of those old 60s TVs. You see it sitting there wherever it is. It can be in a room, a bedroom, a living room. It can have the light coming out of it. Whatever it is, go ahead and visualize that. Now we're going to go back to your photo. Okay, and I want you to physically do everything I tell you. So go ahead and physically box it out. Put a frame around it, however big it is. Okay, and now I want you to grab the edges of that. And you can keep your eyes closed for the rest of this. Grab the edges of it, and like a picture, we're going to manipulate it just like a picture on your phone. Go ahead and put it into the TV. Now I want you to step back and see that image, that freeze frame inside of that box set TV. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, do you hear anything? Are there any sounds?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to grab one of those knobs, like the on and off knob. It's a very strong knob, right? And what you're gonna do is turn the sound off completely. Really fast, go. And actually, I want you to do this with your hands as if there's a knob on the TV. So grab the TV knob and turn it off. Yep, reach out and turn it off. So go ahead and do it quickly. Okay, and it's best if you want to keep your eyes closed, you can do it the whole time. But so go ahead, look at the TV, make sure that you've turned the knob off. And do you still hear anything?
No.
Okay, good, perfect. Now, I want you to tell me if it's in color or black and white, or you can't really tell.
It's in color.
It's in color, okay. I want you to grab another knob, physically grab the knob. You can keep your eyes closed for everything. I want you to physically grab the knob, reach out to the TV, grab the knob, and turn that picture all the way to black and white. And see it, watch it turn to black and white. And you're not done until you have done that. Do you see it now? Okay, I want you to focus on your body. It is black and white, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's focus on your body. Where inside of your body do you feel tension? I feel it in your chest, personally.
Yeah. My chest and my solar plexus.
Yep, so I feel it very strongly right in your chest, right below your neck, about 4 inches below your neck. I feel very tightly there. So I want you to imagine there's a knob just like on the TV right there, and you're going to switch it very fast off, just like an on-off switch. So turn it off quick. Is it off?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now I feel something in your ears as well. Go ahead and turn those off as if they're knobs as well. Both sides. And do all of these off motions quickly as you can. Is it off? Okay, and then go ahead and the solar plexus one, do the same. I feel now in the back of your shoulders very tightly. You can do the same as your ears. Turn them off. Is it off?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other parts of your body where you feel a tension or an energy, a warmth, energy typically?
My
You're drawn
core,
to it.
my
Okay, go ahead and
stomach.
turn it off. Yeah, that's where I felt it actually. It's funny. Go ahead and turn that off as well. Make sure it's off. Don't
It's
stop
off.
until it is. Okay,
It's
great.
off.
Now let's look at that photo again. We're going to try and move through the next steps really quickly, okay? Let's look back at the TV.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're going to take that, you're going to take another button, you're going to turn it all the way to a grainy picture. It's still black and white, right?
Hmm.
So turn it all the way grainy, fuzzy, so you can't see anything. It can either be the lines across the screen or just grains completely, whichever is easier for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now all you see is fuzz, right?
Fuzzy, yeah.
Beautiful. Now we're going to do one more knob. You're going to turn it, and it's going to turn the picture either black or white, whichever feels better for you. I usually turn it all the way to black. So we're going to take that picture, we're going to another knob and turn it all the way black or all the way white, whichever feels better for you.
It's black.
Beautiful. So you know how you shrink a picture in your phone, right?
Hmm.
All right, you're going to grab the edges of that photo out of that TV and bring it back. You're going to shrink it as small as you can until it could fit on your finger or smaller. Shrink it, shrink it, shrink it, shrink it, shrink it, and then throw it behind your head. As soon as it's as small as you can. Perfect. Now you can open your eyes and see if it feels the same or if it's a totally different recall.
It's beautiful. I feel I feel relaxed and
While you're sleeping. No, but try to
yeah,
recall the memory and see if it has as much power over you.
I can't even.
Yeah, a lot of the time you can't even remember it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the actual the frozen frame, and it's
Yeah,
just come to me. It's just come to me, but I'm actually thinking more of the fuzziness and the black fuzziness.
there you
The
go.
last
Right?
bit we did. That's beautiful.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, so the brain, it's a powerful tool that you can use in so many different ways, but you know,
Wow.
visualization it's an actual thing. And people don't believe it until I work through them, you know, through it with them. And it's crazy the things that I've seen. And I mean, I do this on myself as well, quite a bit. So.
I've got a few messages, and that thank you for that, Dom.
Of course.
That's I feel because it was quite a serious trauma that I was talking.
I usually try to target those because those are the ones that really can affect the rest of our lives. I mean, if you can't let that go, you build your life off of it, you know, and around it. And that's not what we're meant to do. We're born as this innocent creature, and that's really what we're supposed to stay as. And you know, the traumas really, this is one of the things that I'm so passionate about is the traumas, and even in my own life, they scar you. And if you can't put some ointment on the scar and let it heal, then you're always just, by the end of your life, you're a mangled mess. And that's not what we're meant to be. So.
I've just got the identity for my school U. It's Matt. Do you know Matt?
Oh, nice. Oh, love you, Matt.
Yeah. Matt says she's a Jane of all trades.
Oh, that's exactly what I call myself. That's trademarked.
Yep. She really can. Good and compassionate friend.
I love you, Ben.
I've got Rebecca Bex Dalton, aka Trickatoni. Trickatoni says you'll have a tough task there. She's talking about you to me, I think. Gaming for Quid. Do you know them?
I'm so horrible with names unless it's the real one. I can't even remember my own songs half the time. Don't ask me to remember. You know how much I've gotten this head of mine.
Yeah. He or she is saying we've already talked about mine 19 years ago.
Oh yeah. So this is the thing, you know, in my intro, which I sent you, you know, I was traveling in Asia last year before kind of my world fell apart, and you know, I couldn't go a couple days without someone nearly dying next to me, and all of a sudden I have to go out and save someone's life. And one of the things that really stood out to me and really kind of got to me, and I had to do this work actually over this, I was out on like a day tour boat when it was a bunch of actually people from, I think, London, actually, and, you know, having fun, drinking, looking like sailor, you know, pirates with our rum bottles and blah, blah, blah. And it was one of my few days of just like having fun. And so we sort of docked up at this, I don't know, like a sandbar, and it's gorgeous. The Philippines, you know, it's just beautiful. And normally I'm the first one to dive off and go to the shore and investigate and adventure and blah, blah, blah. For some reason, I just felt like I needed to stay on the boat. And I just started talking to the guys on the boat. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, that guy drowned. I'm like, what? There's a guy drowning a boat, you know, across from us. And I was like, do they know what they're doing? You know, it's a bunch of local guys, and they just kind of were holding this drowned guy in the water. I'm like, well, I can assure you that the one thing a drowning guy does not need is more water. So like, you know, they just had him there for like a good 45 seconds or so. So I dove off, I swam over, I pulled him up on the boat, and I gave him CPR for about 5 minutes, and ended up, it was a Chinese tourist boat. And who would believe that a girl in a skimpy bikini with blonde hair speaks Chinese? This one.
Lehoma, Leng Loi. Lehoma, Leng Loi.
Yeah. So, oh, and this is the funniest part. You know, I'm asking him all these after I brought him back, and he was purple to his toes. I swear to God, like he was dead. He was gone. But so we brought him back, and I started speaking Chinese to him to make sure his brain, you know, synapses were still firing and all that. And it was funny because I swam back to my boat, and, you know, I told him to go to the hospital immediately, blah, blah, blah. As they're passing my boat, they all go, no shit, really? You're just crazy. Like, but, you know, I mean, I couldn't even go out on a day boat and go drinking, like, and just relax for once because I was working, you know. Couldn't do that, you know. It was just right place, right time, I guess.
Yeah, right place, right time. We've just identified. So the first one was Matt K, but the chap who gaming for quid, who said you've already talked about his 19 years ago. His name is Matt Anderson.
Oh, okay. Love you both.
All these Matts. We got something by Bex Tricatorni and Marco Manga. His name is Marco Manga, and he says, "Wow, I'd love to know more about this. We were only talking about this yesterday about removing memories." So is that what we're doing? Is it throwing the memories away? Is that what we just did?
And it's interesting because you can actually delete the memory completely. Yeah, I've done that a lot. And it's funny because a lot of people will say, "Oh, don't you remember when this, you know, terrible thing happened?" And I literally can't. Because if something, you know, that's that debilitating happens in my life, I typically try to completely just get rid of it. Any types of regrets or feeling like you screwed up, whatever, like, grow up, get over it. The only way to get over it sometimes is to just really release it. And that's one of the hardest ones I've found to get rid of for people, is because you really have to want to get rid of it. A lot of people are so invested in their regret and wanting to feel bad about whatever they did wrong, that's one of the hardest to tackle, because they don't actually want to let it go. And there are like other people where, you know, they're so intent on feeling like the victim because that's the role that they've really, you know, the sympathy and those types of things they enjoy, because they feel like that's the only way they'll get any sort of recognition, unfortunately, which is extremely sad. And so then we have to go back and screw the, you know, the image that they're trying to get rid of right now, because that's not the important part. It's this backstory that makes them feel like nobody cares unless you have something wrong with you, you know. That's where we need to go find. And the good thing, and I don't know, I guess I was blessed with this, just like I'm blessed to find people nearly dying, and I just happen to know how to save lives. Like, there's just something about I was born as if this is my calling, where I can just feel like, and with you, like I can feel even from here where in your body you have these tensions and where the trigger points are. And I can feel them typically before other people can. You know, I was walking my girlfriend through some of this stuff, and I was like, why do you have this weird tension in your feet? Like, that's a weird, it was about a boyfriend. I was like, what is that? And she goes, how did you know that? I'm just like, I don't know how I know, you know, and it's a gift. And I just want to share it with people, because we don't deserve to feel negligent or bad or, traumatized or whatever we want to, hold ourselves to or don't want to hold ourselves to, but can't seem to get rid of, those things. That's not who we really are. Unfortunately, we get stuck with it. So
We have another question. The question is, does removing the memory change your perception of your current reality?
a lot of times it does, yeah. So again, with trauma victims or, one of the Marines I worked with, I won't get too much into details, but he was deployed and was, I don't know, tasked with doing something that's kind of not what he wanted to do. And he had to watch people die in a way that really got to him very badly. And one of his things is he didn't want to forget because he wanted, again, to maintain that memory so that he would never forget what it felt like and then do it again. Or because he wanted to also he felt that it was an honorable thing and, he's doing his job on the one hand. So he had a lot of inner conflict with getting rid of it. And I did explain to him there are ways we can go about it where you still, like I said, recall it as if it's 1 + 1 is 2. So you could still take the moral lesson away, but you don't have to relive it. And it doesn't have to still stab you in the back every time you think of it. And so from that, he was suicidal, actually. And he changed completely after that. And he's doing really well. And he's married now. And, he's a lot happier. But otherwise, he would have carried that and probably would have killed himself at some point. Yeah.
Wow. So where do you get time to do these things? Because you've got your company as well. Let's talk about your company. Let me put it up for people to see. So did I say it right in the introduction?
You did, yeah. It's PI, like the number, like the math number. But it stands for personally identifiable information in the government space. So PII is actually your date of birth, your address, your full social security number, those types of things. We refer to them as PII, personally identifiable. So it's your identifiers. So that's why it's one of the things that I'm really invested in is helping actual civilians, not just the companies, but helping the people that that's their clientele to protect their stuff. I mean, you've seen the military and government and agencies have been hacked, and even our medical records were hacked. Like that's it's exposure we don't want, especially in the government space. And that can have a huge impact on the rest of your life. I really don't even try to hide things anymore because I'm like, I've worked in all these circles. I know somebody's had a bullseye on me for something, I'm sure. So I'm sure it's out there, but especially the older people, the elderly who get phone calls and, oh, it's the IRS. We're going to come steal your house if you don't X, Y, Z. And then these people will, at least here in the US, they have that. And these people don't know and they give out their information and, then they get exploited and it's horrible. So that's why I named it that anyway, is because I want to make that I'm really doing this little guy.
Okay. And then Heal Your Six. What's that about? Heal Your Six. What's that about?
Heal Your Six. So in the military, we say got your six, which means that I've got your, your 6 o'clock, which means you're back, basically.
I got your back. Yeah, man, I like that.
Yeah, I got your back, basically. So got your six means that, basically. And then Heal Your Six, I actually just rebranded to, because the other name nobody was really able to pronounce. But
yeah, go on, tell us the other name, Dom. I know it is. Go on, tell the world.
Yeah. So my personal Instagram is Dom the Matrix, which everybody calls me Dom. It's a play on words because dominatrix, I think it's hilarious. Especially the fact that businessmen are usually the ones that want to get their asses handed to them. I don't really know why. It's just like, right? But Dom means God in Latin, which is why we have Domingo and all of these different names for Sunday, Dominus, all that. That means God. So, and I very heavily believe in The Matrix, the movie. I mean, I believe, again, the mind is this thing that we can just take memories in and out of, right? So, and you can do the opposite. You can put memories into your mind as well. You could tell yourself you're capable of doing things, which is what leading NLP practitioners are showing people. I'm kind of focusing more on getting rid of the old baggage, whereas like Tony Robbins and all those, they focus on putting in positive stuff. but I kind of went off the grid with that. But so The Matrix, obviously, that movie is very important to me. So the name is God is the Matrix, essentially, or Dominate the Matrix. So those are my takes on it. But people always think, oh, you're going to hit me. I'm like, maybe.
So then you changed it to heal your six, heal
Heal
your back, like I got your back.
Yeah, well, your six is also then your subconscious mind, right? Which is, think of it as the back mind. So yeah, heal your six, right? Exactly.
So in terms of the work you do regarding the NLP, how can someone find you? Because you're still getting that website. That website's not ready yet, is it? Heal Your Six.
I would just rebranded. So you can get me at Heal Your Six on Instagram. It's _ before and after Heal Your Six.
Okay.
I've also got Twitter at Heal Your Six as well. And then PiiSec, of course. I'm just Dom at PiiSec.com. I also have Dominique, my full name, so that people don't get the wrong idea. And I was telling you earlier, people started calling me Dom because I used to race cars and like
yeah, tell us.
wildling. But yeah, so like Dom Toretto, like or Toretto. But yeah, so like Dom, that's kind of why everybody started calling me that. And it's just easier than a 9-letter name, I guess. So
well, you've been wonderful today, Dom. So again, someone says, "Yep, love her IG."
Yeah, Dom the Matrix. I love it. I love your hell.
Oh, IG's Instagram. Okay, yeah, I just got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, look, Dom, if you got any last thoughts or last message that you want to say regarding anything, yeah, anything you want to give out there, anything you want to say, what would you say?
I just posted this actually on my Instagram, so anyone that does try to join it will see it. But this is just really powerful for me, and I found it on somebody else's, so I'm kind of stealing. But if I can just read it really quick, it really has been kind of motivational for me the last 2 days.
Please.
So it says, can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Which is, to me, it's like we overthink and analyze everything. So if you can just kind of quiet and find stillness, there's so much power in that. Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child, which means just relax, just let it go. Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Again, stop like over analyzing everything and just kind of bring in the God energy or whatever you'd like to call it. Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? So, like my son, I love him so much. People call me a helicopter mom, but like I have to pull back and let him. When he was little, he used to climb on the chair, and I told him one day, I said, you could fall and you could hit your head because the ground's pretty hard, and then you could have to, have a bad injury, and you might have to go to the hospital and get stitches or something like that. But it's your head, so do what you want. And he goes, I don't want to do that now. So I didn't take power away from him in that instance. I let him figure out, I shouldn't do this. It's my choice, and that's kind of where I've always parent him, where it's going to be here forever. So I don't need to control you. Well, my job is to lead you and sort of show you what's right and wrong for you to interpret as you will. Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course, which I am currently having a huge issue with, going through custody issues with kiddo. And, it's my most important person in the entire world. So it's been very hard for me to let a bunch of random strangers, being the court system, sort of dictate my child's life, so pulling back and not trying to control the entire thing has been very hard for me. And when I read this, that kind of lightning moment struck me. And that was one of the best sentences, or rather questions for me, was that one. It's just like, oh, what's it going to do? What's it going to kill? But did you die? So that's a really important one. Just dealing with the most important things, the things you're most stressed about, by just letting them go and just taking back the care, the caring too much, rather. Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is a supreme virtue. So I just find that really, really powerful. And a lot of teachers, a lot of spiritual teachers have said the same thing, but I think sometimes we have lightning moments for different reasons and different verbiage. So I think that's a big one. And I think 2020 is really showing us that, like, just hands in the air.
You know what? That was so beautiful, and you've been such a beautiful guest. I've got another message. I think you got an admirer here, Mr. MK School U Matt K, and he's saying
yeah, he just messaged.
He's saying she's an awesome mum as a single parent, good shoulder to lean on.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Well, it's been such a great pleasure to have you on, Dom. Please stay in the green room after we finish the show, because there's a few things I want to ask you off air, because you've been amazing. I've got another message. They're all coming through, and Chicatoni, tu c'hai belli says.
You just keep messaging, so we keep saying.
Yeah, she says 2020 vision. 2020 vision.
Yeah, I always
Beautiful.
say that. 20 hindsight. Yeah. I'm like, I wish 2020 was in our hindsight already.
Yeah. 2020, and she's saying thank you as well. She's saying thank you for being here today. So thank you, Trix. You've been great, Dom. I'm just, you know what, it was one of those days where I was up and down and this, that, and the other, and it was like, I'm just so happy that I've had a pleasure to meet you again, this time face to face as opposed to face to no face. Do you remember last time we were on the same panel, but we weren't opposite each other. So thank you very much, Dom. We'll have a little chat in the green room in a minute, but thank you, and thank you for everything that you do. And you're a wonderful, wonderful being and a beautiful person. Thank you. God bless. Yeah. Well, it's been a great show, guys. Dom has been amazing. Next week, we've got a lady called Love Charmaine, and that's her name. And Dom knows her too, but that's another story. Thank you very much. And do not fear. Saf is here. Inspirational people, inspirational stories. Peace, love, bow. See you later.